Hey folks, welcome back to Frankenstein. So we are in volume 2, chapter 9, where we're going to look at a deal with the devil. So as I've talked about before, there are 3 narrators in this novel, Robert, Victor, and the creature, and all 3 of them tell their tales on ice. So Robert is going to begin and end the novel. Victor comes in second, and then we've just listened to the creature's story, which takes place in an ice field or glacier field in the Alps, where the monster has gone over with Victor. He's made him sit down. Of course, Victor wants to kill him, but the monster has made him sit down, and he's told him what has happened in his life between the creation and this moment in time. For about almost 2 years, he goes over what's happened. As we talked about last time, we have to keep in mind that this is absolutely a story that's told with the intention of persuading Victor Frankenstein to take some sort of deal, which we didn't find out what the deal was until last chapter, chapter 8, and now we go into more detail here in chapter 9. So the creature is trying to persuade Victor that I'm good, that it's his nature. He's not actually truly violent in his nature. He's done some bad things, but he's not truly violent. He says, I'm good. Man's bad, and you're a terrible creator. Also, you owe me one. So what we have here in this chapter, in chapter 9, is we have a deal with the devil. Now, who is the devil here? Well, from Victor's point of view, the devil is his creation. But from the monster's point of view, the devil is Victor Frankenstein. He has been a horrible creator. He has not been like God was with Adam. He has been awful. So the deal with the devil can be looked at from both sides, from both perspectives. So here's the deal. The deal is Victor must create a companion for the monster. He wants a female. And if he will do that, then the monster says, I or we will leave you and your family and your friends and all mankind alone forever. We'll go to South America, which to a European in this point in time would be very far away, not all that many people. Of course, they knew that people lived there, absolutely. Age of exploration, et cetera, colonization and so on. But anyhow, it'd be very distant from a European perspective. Anyhow, will make me a mate and I will leave mankind alone forever, which brings up quite a dilemma for Victor. What's the right thing for him to do? So Victor looks at this situation and we see him talking with the monster and thinking through this process. And he says, basically, you'll have a partner in crime. If I make you a companion, you'll have a partner in crime, a companion who can join in future destruction. If I make a companion for you, there will be more monsters, not fewer. There'll be one more huge, incredibly athletic, agile being that can destroy almost at will, it seems. And he also points out, hey, you are violent. And in fact, the monster, the vast majority of that story he told in volume 2, chapters 3 through 8, he's very sympathetic character until the end, right? At the end, he burns down the DeLacy household, right? He murders William, and he sets up Justine to take the fall, pun intended, for William's murder. So Victor's got a point. You are violent. I do want to point out here that nothing actually is also said as he's working through this dilemma. Nothing is said about the possibility of these two having monster babies. Nothing is said about the two monsters now having little babies and how those could become a rival race that would actually overthrow mankind. Nothing is said about that, but that's a possibility, and that might figure later on into thinking on Victor Frankenstein's part. The monster replies. He says, I'm violent because I'm miserable, and I'm miserable because I'm alone. If you'll make me a missus, I'll never be alone, I'll never be violent again, I'll never be miserable, and thus I won't have the basis for being violent anymore. We'll be happy together, and we will leave you alone forever. So, is the monster right? We can debate whether he'll keep his word for himself. We can debate whether the depiction he gave of himself that was largely sympathetic is one we should actually believe in. Debate that all you want, but also consider, can he make a promise for a second creature? Make me a companion and we'll be happy together, but will they be happy together, right? He may not be violent in his nature, but how can he make sure or be sure she won't be violent? That's a pretty significant question. Anyhow, he says he promises we'll be together, we'll be happy, we'll leave Europe, and we'll leave you behind, which leads, of course, to the debate. Victor goes back and forth here about what he should do. I have this meme up here of being indecisive. That might be unfair to Victor. I mean, really, anyone going through this thought process would have to debate back and forth what's going on. He debates and he delays and he dithers. Again, I might be unfair to him, but anyhow, I'm going to keep that word up there. The monster is still trying to persuade him, but he also threatens, right? Notice that? The monster's rage can be seen here. He's not entirely this peaceful, happy guy. He isn't. He might have had that very sympathetic story, but do we see here kind of a change taking place where he moves from sympathetic creature to more of an actual monster? So what to do? Finally, Victor has to make his decision. What's interesting, this is a passage from chapter 9. You can stop and read this in your book. It's past the halfway mark of the chapter, where he has to go back and forth about what he's going to do. And he talks about up here that he understood that the creature had capacities that were formidable, and that was scary. But notice what he finally concludes. After a long pause of reflection, I concluded that the justice due both to him and my fellow creatures demanded of me that I should comply with his request. So in the end, he concludes that there is a justice that's due the monster and to humanity. The monster has made his case. The monster has been treated horribly by mankind and has been treated horribly by Victor. He deserves to have some companion in this earth, because it's obvious no human will ever provide that for him. Also, justice for my fellow creatures, I would assume, means that it makes sense that he'll leave everybody alone and won't ever have to see him again. So he will make a mate for his monster. He will make a missus for the mister. He takes the deal, at least for now. But I want you to notice one last thing. And note what the monster says to him, his last statement to him. He says, depart to your home and commence your labor down here, I shall watch their progress with unutterable anxiety, and fear not, but that when you are ready, I shall appear. So note the monster. He will be near. As Victor and him depart, he's going to have this guy watching him. He'll always be near. He'll be watching. Victor will sense this in his journey ahead, and his senses are correct, which is interesting. Victor, who likes to isolate and who ran from his creature, will now never feel or be truly alone. Talk at y'all later.